Hey everyone, and welcome to another car review. Today's car is very special. It's a 1999 US spec BMW E36 M3 with only 70,000 kilometers on it and not modified at all. Now, I've been very lucky to bring a lot of BMW reviews to this channel, but I'm very excited for this one because this is my first experience at an M car. Anyways, I'll start up front with the meat and potatoes of this M3. Now up front we've got the S52 B32 3.2 liter inline 6. That's good for about 240 horsepower and 236 foot-pounds of torque. Now, because this is the US spec, it's a little bit underpowered compared to the Euro spec, and there's also some aesthetic differences here and there. I'm not going to go through all the differences. I'll leave a link in the description below. But as for the engine, the reasons why it's underpowered is because, firstly, it only has one single throttle body, whereas the Euro spec has individual throttle bodies. And this also has a lower compression ratio compared to the Euro spec, and it only has a two-stage Vano system compared to the more complex Vano system in the Euro spec. This Vano system actually came from the 325i and the 525i at the time. And all those differences resulted in the Euro spec having 320 horsepower in 1999, whereas this only had 240. Moving on to exterior looks, this car has very different opinions about how it looks in the eyes of enthusiasts, but I overall actually like its straight edge boxy design. And what I like about it is that it differentiates itself from the stock E36, but at the same time it maintains that subdued elegance where it has the classiness of a 3 Series. And overall, I really love this Estoril blue color. It just looks absolutely phenomenal with those M3 contour wheels. Anyways guys, here we are behind the wheel of the E36 M3, and special thank you to Sam for letting me review his car. So before we begin the drive, is there anything you would like to tell us about this specific car?
I mean, I guess we can go over it during the drive. It's a pretty fun car to drive.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really special car because, first of all, there's no modifications with it, and that's rare with these cars. I think when people look at these cars, especially like 5 years ago when they were affordable, they added too many things, and I think these cars are really great when they're stock.
Very balanced.
Yeah, very balanced. And also it only has 70,000 original kilometers, which is nothing basically for these engines especially. Anyways, let's get going. So if someone's in the market for one of these cars, what do you think they should look for first?
Like mechanically?
Yeah, mechanically.
Like the cooling systems usually have issues. You read a lot of stuff online. I mean, I've really not encountered much problems with this.
Yeah.
They're pretty solid, simple cars.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Just want good maintenance history.
Yeah, these S52 engines, like, they're really robust and they're really stout.
Yeah.
They're definitely gonna last a long time if you own these cars. It's more that, like, everything outside the car seems to fail for some reason, but
people beat them up too, so they can take it.
So I guess the first thing that we should test it out is a pull.
Sure, yeah.
What do you think of that?
Feel free.
All right, just a little second gear pull right here, just get into the out of the corner.
Go all the way.
All right, here we go. This engine just absolutely pulls.
It likes to rev.
Yeah, like, and you know what? Like, when people say that these engines are underpowered compared to the Euro spec, 240 horsepower, that's not a small amount.
It doesn't sound like much though, but it's pretty peppy for this car.
I agree, like it doesn't sound a lot, but like you also have to factor in that this car is only 3,200 pounds, right? So that power to weight ratio right there, and plus how well balanced the car is, like these cars are, if you ask me, I think they're really underrated.
It's a nice package.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd love to drive a Euro spec though to see how it is.
Oh yeah, no,
Never driven one.
I bet like I can't imagine 320 horsepower with under this car.
Yeah,
that must be nuts.
That must rip.
Now you said yourself you got to experience an E36 M3. So,
yeah. It was a little bit modded. It had motor was fairly stock, just intake and exhaust, but it had like Bilstein coilovers and stuff. It was bulkier than this.
Okay.
Like it was, I liked it. It was a fun car to drive, but for like the canyons, I'd probably take the E36 chassis over it. But the motor in that car was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was that a 3.2 inline six?
3.2 straight six, but that's like the full, you know.
Yeah.
333 horsepower. That thing is fast.
Oh yeah. Now I think a lot of people say that these engines, if you want to get max power, you got to rev them out, but you know, so far from what I've seen, like there's a good amount of low-end torque in these cars.
Yeah, it's a nice city motor too. I mean, you're not feeling pressed to rev it all the time. It's a good balance.
Yeah, exactly. All right, one more pull?
Yeah, go ahead. As many as you want.
You know what? This gearbox is fantastic.
Yeah.
I really got to compliment the gearbox.
Very mechanical.
Yeah, very mechanical, very easy to use. Granted, the shifts are a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But like it's a BMW, and they all have that characteristic to them when they're a manual. But like it's very easy to use. Like for instance, if you're in the city, it's very manageable. Performance driving, very notchy. You always know what gear you're in.
Yeah, you can predict everything that's going on.
Yeah, that's definitely a strong suit with this car.
Older cars in general have nicer sticks, I feel.
Yeah,
They're more mechanical.
I have a little bit of experience with newer BMWs and manuals, like that 650i, and like don't get me wrong, good gearbox as well, but like it feels like you're moving a stick through a bucket of dough, whereas
a little bit,
whereas this is like super direct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now steering wise, oh my goodness, it's so direct.
With bad tires even.
Yeah. Like yeah, again, like straight on center and turn in very exact. Like coming up to a corner right now, very little body roll.
Yeah, no body roll.
Yeah. So one thing that I noticed is that the brakes are actually, they got like a nice amount of travel to them, but that's not to say they don't grab super late. Like I think like when you have like a daily car, you don't want super grabby brakes, right? And like the M3 itself, like as much of a performance car it is, it's more about being like a good daily then.
Oh, for sure, you can daily it. Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, these brakes, very manageable. Clutch, a little bit grabbier, right? Yeah, and honestly, really fun to use.
Yeah.
Like, you know, very good clutch.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun. I like the grabbiness of it. I think it feels sporty.
Yeah, and like it has that like nice little heavy feeling to it as well. Now this does come with LSD, right?
It does have an LSD, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So if you want to do like a you know, some 11s, you know, you're not gonna not gonna do a one-wheel peel or anything.
No, no.
All right, yeah, just coming into a corner right now, and like downshift, very easy.
Yeah, very little roll.
Yeah, very little body roll. Coming out of the corner, you have to be in the proper gear, but once it goes above 4,000 RPM, ooh, it really comes into its own. Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Sam, I kind of want one. I'm absolutely amazed with this car. Oh my goodness.
Let's try to find a Euro Spec together.
Yeah. So I guess before we conclude with this car, I think this car should, a US Spec, they should not be overlooked. These S52 B32 engines that came with the US Spec, they're really manageable, super linear. You know, again, 240 horsepower. While that might not seem the most, this chassis is just absolutely engineered, like just very well, and it's got a proper setup. It sends power to the rear wheels, engine in the front, manual gearbox. If you're looking for a performance car, and if you want a good introduction, this is honestly perfect.
Yeah, while they're still kind of affordable. I mean,
yeah, while they're still kind of affordable, I think these things have shot up in value, right?
Yeah, I mean, looking on eBay, they've gone up. I don't know what they really sell for, but
yeah,
people ask a lot of money for them nowadays.
I agree. I think, you know, you go on like Craigslist or something, and they're worth just as much these days as like E36 M3s are.
And you don't see as many around as an E46, like, you know.
I agree, yeah, and especially because E46s, there's a lot more of them made, right?
I'm not sure about that, but I mean, you just see them everywhere. I think a lot of these got destroyed.
That's true, yeah. Anyways, all right, Sam, well, thank you so much for letting me review your car. I think it's time to form a final opinion on this car. Now, there are countless reviews on the internet about BMW M3s and other performance luxury sedans and coupes, but if there's one thing that those reviews have in common, it's that the BMW M3 is defined as the benchmark. Now, when the E36 M3 came out back in 1992, it was not only the benchmark, but it was pretty much the only car in that segment. So, is it safe to say that the M3, the E36 M3, is a future classic? Definitely, and here's a few reasons why. So firstly, this was the first M3 to offer a inline-6 engine, and it essentially created this relationship we see today with BMW M3s and inline-6 engines. And secondly, this car pretty much created the segment of the performance sedan. Now, one could argue that the E30 M3 was the first performance sedan, but that car was a little bit more race-orientated, whereas this was more about offering a luxurious ride without having to sacrifice performance. And finally, in this car's lifetime, it practically had no competition. It wasn't until 1995 when Mercedes offered the C36 AMG, and even then many reviewers and journalists still regarded this as the better driver's car. In fact, right at the end of this car's lifetime in 1999, when it was 7 years old, there was finally one car that was slightly better, and that was the Audi S4. But overall, this car obliterated the competition. In today's day and age, the BMW M3 has a vast array of opinions, and unfortunately, many regard it as a little bit overrated because the competitors are honestly offering similar, and if not better performance, for a cheaper price tag. Now, if you think this car is overrated and you don't like it, I totally respect that. But before you form an opinion, I strongly advise that you drive this car, or any BMW M3. There's just something about these sedans that they offer things that just can't be measured on paper. They're just so precise and enjoyable. Sure, today's M3 might not outperform the segment like it used to, but if there was one sedan which absolutely obliterated the competition and kept manufacturers up late at night trying to figure out how the M3 do it, then it has to be the E36 M3. And for those reasons, it deserves to be a future classic. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I absolutely had a fantastic time today with this M3. And if you want to see more of it, I'll leave a link in the description below. In the meantime, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All the good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.